We are live. This is Ask Chris Anything. It's your chance to get straight answers to your questions about Google Photos and anything else about the things that we teach. So, Chris is a little bit ready.
Sure.
This
So
is,
go ahead.
yeah, I just wanted to introduce Chris. If you don't know Chris, she is the author of this book, Learn Google Photos, and it is in its third revision, I guess, now, right? And Chris loves to take photos. She loves to teach. As you know, she has gathered nearly 1 billion photos and videos in her Google Photos account. Well, just over 100,000 anyway. And finding exactly what she wants, and sharing it with family and friends. It's just so easy with Google Photos. So she can teach you how. Go ahead, Chris. Take it
Didn't you
away.
have a little slide? Didn't you have a couple of slides you wanted to
Oh,
show?
yeah. You
Yeah.
want to look at that? Let's do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
just to see if everything worked.
All right. Well, here's the book. It's available on Amazon or learngooglephotos.com. You can buy the book at Amazon or on Kindle. We really recommend the Kindle app for your phone and to get the Kindle version because all the links are live and it's searchable. So that's a cool thing. And the book is alive. We have a special, or Chris has a special website, and it's called lgpbook.online. And it updates references, videos, all on the companion webpage there, lgpbook.online. There's no .com, no .anything after the .online, okay? Just remember that. And so I guess we're ready to get into today's questions, Chris.
Okay. And I
What are
see a few more have come in in just the last few minutes. So we will try to get to them. But meanwhile, if you could just uh, comment wrangle for
Okay.
me and give me the questions, I'll see what I can do with them.
Okay. I'm going to have to go through real quick. Got your questions, Tom?
Oh, there's Tom.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, no, that's not his question. That's just me.
Okay. All right. Detlef's still in the country. Good to see you, Webster, Florida. All right. Mm-hmm. So if you did send questions in like in the last maybe hour or so, we may not have them up on the screen for these, so we'll have to see where they got to. All right. There we go. Questions are starting right here. June wants to know, I want to download photos from Ancestry.com, but they're PNG files, which I don't think Google Photos can use. Something else on my computer's grabbing them?
Well, I don't use Ancestry.com, so I don't know exactly what's going on, but I can tell you that PNGs are no problem. Google Photos can work with PNGs just as well as JPG files and HEIC. If it's a photo file, it can work with it just fine. My guess is that you're getting them from Ancestry.com, but they're not getting uploaded, to Google Photos. So you go to Ancestry, you say, I want this photo, you download it, it comes to your computer. Then what? Maybe you used to use backup and sync to do that, and backup and sync stopped working on August 1. You needed to migrate over to Google Drive for desktop. And there's a lot of questions on that. So we'll be showing more on that. But that's my thought. There's no problem with PNGs. It's something about they're not getting up to Google Photos.
Okay, Ed says I've used Google My Drive on the web for a long time, and my photos are all in Google Photos. I need Drive for desktop? Good question.
Do you need Drive? You used Google Drive on the web. Okay. So if you're using it on the web and you don't care about the facility to have them on your computer so that you can just use it from your computer and your photos are already up in Google Photos, no, I have good news. You don't need Drive for Desktop. Drive for Desktop serves two main purposes: making your Google Drive, which is cloud storage, available on your computer, and two, uploading photos to Google Photos. If you don't need the one and you already have the other done, so you don't need it.
Great.
And I did get Tom Parks. I yeah,
Okay,
I
we'll get
found
there.
it. I found it.
Oh, great. That's great. Excuse me. I miss backup in Sync and Picasa. Hmm. Yeah, a few of us do. I still use Picasa to gather my 10-second videos from game cameras, but when Drive for Desktop sends them to Google Drive, I get an authentication error. Hmm.
Okay, first of all, this is Burgess K. Hi, Burgess. I think we have actually had a conversation before because you do something so unique and so cool. He has cameras set up, video cameras set up out in the woods, taking photos of wildlife, and he has hours and hours and hours and hours, and he calls them down into these 10-second videos and then uses Picasa. It sounds to me, once again, like you maybe don't have Drive for Desktop properly set up. So let me show that. Um, if you if you had and trying to get an authentication error. Right. The authentication error I is probably coming from Picasa because it cannot authenticate. But if you, and let me go to my Drive for Desktop and the preferences, and you need to add the folder. So I've added only one folder. You probably have a folder called wildlife videos. So that folder would be here, and make sure that backup to Google Photos is checked. And make sure that your account is correct. I mean, that's the authentication. Maybe you didn't completely sign in to Google Drive. You need to sign in to Google Drive, but once you've done it once, it should just stay there. There's nothing more to do. So your account needs to be signed into Google Drive for Desktop. This is and the folder that you want to upload has to have the backup to Google Photos checked. Notice I do not have sync to Google Drive checked because my photos I only want in Google Photos. I don't want them taking up twice the storage. All right. And if that doesn't answer your question, Burgess, I know you are a longtime Geeks on Tour member, and if you want to do a little Zoom call, I'd be happy to do that.
Okay. Phyllis, when I want to add photos to an old album, I have to scroll all the way through my list of hundreds of albums. Is there a faster way?
Hey, um, yes and no. This has been my number one complaint with Google Photos since the beginning. Please send feedback. And they know. They know that when you go to add a photo to an old album, search is not available. And that's a real pain. And it should be. And they know it. They
If
just
that's for
haven't.
me, I'm not here.
Yeah, okay. They know it. They just haven't gotten around to it. But that said, there are a couple of little tricks. So let me show you that. I'm going to go to my screen and my Google Photos. So what she's saying saying is, let's say there's this photo that I want to add to an album from a long time ago. I click the little three dots. I click add to album. And now I have, people just starting to use Google Photos don't have this many albums, but if I have hundreds and hundreds of albums, and there is no search facility here. Aha. There is a little bit just because of it being on a computer. So if I wanted to put it in in an album about China, which is an old album, I can do a control F. Control F, and that has popped up a little search box. This is just a standard internet thing, control F, and I can type China. And look there, it has searched and found that. So you'd say, oh, well, that answers the question completely. You just need to know control F and you can search for any old album. But no, it will only find a number of albums that are loaded into this dialog box. I have hundreds, so there are ones that aren't even in there. But that'll help. That'll help. The second thing that would help would be if you find the album first and then add a recent photo. So I can search for China and I see this album for a trip to China. Then if I just temporarily add a photo and choose my most recent photo and done. Now, when that list of albums comes up, it'll be on top. So those are my two little tricks, but I agree completely. It's something that they need to improve.
Okay. So, is there a faster way? Terry says, I have an album of our travels and want to know how to get photos taken on my husband's phone into that album on my Google Photos.
All right. It's called partner sharing. And if you have the book, it's in the chapter on sharing, which is chapter 9, and it's specifically on page 134. So it gives you all the instructions. So, for example, Jim and I set up partner sharing on our accounts. So from my Google Photos, I have a back door into his Google Photos, and any picture that I can see of his, I can save to my account. I can even have it automatically save them if I want, but I don't want all of his pictures. So we have it set up that you have to go in and save.
Good.
How about want to start taking some of the current comments now?
Sure.
So people
Let's
who
see if
are
I
on, or should I go straight to Tom? Yeah, let me do Tom Parks so I don't forget him because I just
Okay.
had to find.
You go right ahead.
So he says he has 3 questions. Let's see here. Pictures scanned on my Canon printer scanner do not go directly into Google Photos as they did before. Oh, I'm sure that's because you had backup and sync set before that everything that went into a folder. I mean, it never went straight from your scanner to Google Photos. It just doesn't do that. It went from your scanner to a folder on your computer. You probably had that folder being watched by the software called Backup and Sync, and it automatically uploaded to Google Photos. Backup and Sync stopped working on October 1. And if you want that function to continue, you needed to migrate to Drive for desktop. And I have, and we did a whole show on it, episode 220. Episode 220 was all about it. And I even have just one video that is how to do the migrate. Let me show you how to find that video. So if you just go to geeksontour.com, tutorials and all videos. And it's one of my more recent videos, so it shouldn't be too hard to find. My number 706, migrate to Google Drive for desktop. That will step you through what you need to do. Okay, so that was question number 1. Question number 2, I still can't put videos taken on my iPhone from Google Photos into YouTube as I used to be able to. You've told me there is a way to do it. I cannot figure it out. No, there is no way to go straight from Google Photos to YouTube. Yeah, they took that away from us. Once again, send feedback. We miss it too. There is no way to go from Google Photos to YouTube. You can only go from your computer to YouTube. So if it's in Google Photos and it's not on your computer, step 1 is to download it to your computer, then upload it to YouTube. All right.
All right, going through my pictures that are not in Google Photos for duplicates, using duplicates photo fixer. This is finding duplicates. My question is, if I create albums of these pics, will Google Photos exclude them?
Well, first of all, you're talking about photos that are on your computer because there are lots of tools to eliminate duplicates from your computer. There's no such tool to do that automatically from Google Photos. So you then make an album. So what I don't know is, were these photos already uploaded to Google Photos before you did the fixing on the computer? If not, then you're golden. Just upload the ones that have been deduped to Google Photos. If they were already, if the duplicates were already up in Google Photos, then it's just not going to help.
Hmm. Michael wants to know, I want to crop a photo, so I move the photo to my library or my list of photos. I crop and make a copy. I then add it to my album. Where is it? Is it at the date of the original photo?
Hi, Michael. Yes, it should be. Yes, it should be at the date of the original photo. You cropped it, you moved a photo to your library, cropped it, and saved a copy. It should have saved it with the same date. Then add it to my album. Is it at the date of the original? It most certainly should be.
Right
Yeah.
next to the original in the library. Okay, that's the bottom of those. We still have some from before. What do you want to do?
Okay. Well, let me get to Tom Park's third question here.
Okay.
I keep getting the notice that I do not have enough Google Drive storage to sync all my files. There you go. That's something that I'll bet you people are getting. I try to increase it, but I'm not able to. One set of instructions told how to do it with an Android phone, but I have an iPhone. How do I increase the Google Drive storage? I do it on the computer. You can do it on the phones, but it has nothing to do with phones. Are you sure you're talking about Google Drive storage and not device storage, your phone? That's something that's really hard to keep straight. Your phone has storage that physically gets full. Your cloud service has storage that can be expanded, no problem. Anyway, here's how you do it on the computer. You go to your account. So myaccount.google.com, and you can just search for that. You could search for my Google account, but it is myaccount.google.com. And then data and privacy, and I'm wrong. I'm wrong. It's not your account. It's one.google.com. And they came up with this one.google.com as as the place where you can buy more storage. It's still a part of your account, but okay. One.google.com and storage. It tells you how much you're using, and if you want more, you click on whichever one you want. I am currently paying for the 100 gigabytes a month, but next when I get full, I will go to the 200 gigabytes and pay $2.99 a month, etc., etc. That is how you increase your Google account storage, which is shared between Google Drive, Google Mail, and Google Photos. That's that.
Okay. Let's see. Terry G, I have an album of our travels and want to know how to get photos taken on my husband's phone into that album on Google Photos.
Did that one.
I did.
Yep.
Who's paying attention? How about in adding photos to an existing album? Why is there no indicator of photos that have already been put in the album?
Yes, there is, Kay. If you add photos from inside the album. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to my Google Photos and I look at my albums and I pick a one that I'm working on, say. So let's say I am working on the September. From inside it, if you use the add photos, the little button up in the upper right hand corner that has a plus on it, that's how you can go get more photos to add to this album. And it should take you to the general date period. So we should be looking at September photos. And it's just not real easy to see, but do you see how this check mark is gray and this one is empty? The solid gray means that photo is already in the album. So I can tell that this photo is not. And there's a good reason. Look at that hair. Okay, so I would say, no, I don't want that photo in the album. But this little collage of photos is. That photo is. So, yes, if you go inside the album, add photos, you will see which photos are already in the album.
Okay. Kay says she has 5 Gmail addresses. Oh boy, I'd like all 5 to have my Google Photos. Can that be done?
No, don't do it. Now, you can set up one partner account. So let's say I have a Chris at Gmail Google Photos account, and I have a Chris backup at Gmail Google Photos account. I could make them partners like me and Jim are, but and automatically copy every photo in the Chris at Gmail to the Chris backup at Gmail. So you can do that with one pair of accounts. Now, for the other four, first of all, oh, I advise strongly for people to limit their photos to one account because it gets so confusing. The whole idea is to get all of your pictures into one place. If you start adding them manually to other places, you're going to get messed up. That said, there is a way. Should I show it or not? I don't know. I'm not sure that I should even show it, but I'm gonna. So now I need to look at the phone. Okay. And this is either Android or iPhone. This happens to be my Android that I'm showing. Come on. and we go to Google Photos. And in the account button up here, you can drop down this little drop down arrow. And you could have all 5 of your accounts added to this device. I have a couple of test accounts that I do use. And so they are on this device. But just looking at the test account doesn't add the photos to it. Now, what's it doing? Okay, it's telling me to sign in with that other account. So you could do that. But the way you get your photos into another account is in the photos settings, backup and sync. And notice I have all of my photos getting backed up to my account. If I want them to go to another account, you change it here. But then see, you're going to forget to change it back. At least I would. And now you're all messed up. But where there's a will, there's a way. Yes, it can be done.
All right. Let's see. Alan says somehow hundreds of photos, prior years' photos, got duplicated to 2021. Can I remove the latest duplicates?
Got duplicated to 2021. And you're sure they yeah there is no automatic way, but one technique that a lot of people don't know about, so I want to show, is looking at your photos in a different sort order. So show my screen.
Got it.
The normal sort order for Google Photos is date taken. So this photo was taken today. These photos, look at that, were taken a few days ago. We were out in the ocean. So that's cool. Then as you scroll back, you're doing the date taken. Now, let's say that you uploaded a bunch of old photos. They're not going to show up at the top because they weren't taken today, even though they were added today. You can, if you click on Explore, view them in recently added order. So if you click on recently added, you are now seeing pictures. Now, most of the time, it's relatively the same, right? Because you're just taking pictures. They were added today or yesterday. But look here, here's some pictures that were taken many years ago, but I just added them. I just found them on some CD or something and I uploaded them yesterday. So they are in date added order. So that's easy to find the recently added photos by looking at your library in recently added order. And once again, I did that. And you can do this on the phones as well. It's under search on phones. On the computer, it's under explore and recently added.
Okay. Well, here's one. Different. GPS on timeline shows missing travel. What does this mean and why? I'm guessing that's Google Maps timeline.
This sounds like Google Maps. Yeah, because we did our show on Google Maps on timeline shows missing travel. Well, I have found that Google Maps timeline just isn't particularly accurate. It has during 2020 when we did not leave home, it shows me in Canada one weekend. So it does weird things, and maybe your phone didn't have Wi-Fi for a period, or there's all sorts of reasons. It is not 100% accurate.
Okay. Add photos is in mobile too. Yeah.
Yes, the recently added. It's
And
under search.
Tom says, yeah, he's using a computer.
Okay.
Michael, I noticed on the sharing tab and also on the library tab on mobile, I see my albums. Is there a reason the album is in both places?
Eh, yeah, because you shared. Yeah, the shared albums are a little bit weird. If I shared an album with you, Michael, it would only show up on your sharing tab. But since you made an album and you shared it, it's in your albums and it's on the sharing tab. Now, if I shared an album with you that you really wanted to see all the time and you wanted it to show up in your albums, you can do that. You can open a strictly shared album, click on the three dots, and show in albums. So, hope that answers it.
Okay, Richard, I am using a very slow loading Chromebook. Is a photo in an album also in Google Photos? Is that a
Ah,
duplicate? Get a
oh.
new Chromebook.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I wonder if other people who are talking about duplicates have the misconception that a photo is duplicated in an album. It is not. And in fact, that is a major topic of the article I just wrote. So let me show you that.
All right.
Uh, yeah, if you go to geeksontour.com and click on the blogs and news and all articles. This shows the one I just did yesterday, Google Photos, uploading a folder from your computer to an album, and then I go on to explain albums a little bit, and it's coming up. So the first part of it is all about uploading a folder and having that make an album in Google Photos. But then the second part, albums are not folders. So your Google Photos library is just one giant stream of photos by date. All photos are stored in your Google Photos library, just under the tab that says Photos. When you make an album, you're just asking Google to make a particular photo show up in an album. It's a virtual grouping. It is not a copy. So, for example, this little picture of the dolphin is stored in the stream called the library, but it can show up in an album called Florida Keys. It can show up in another album called August 2018, and it can show up in another album called Ocean. If you remove the photo from Ocean, it'll still be in the library. It'll still show up in the other two albums. But if you delete it from the library, it's gone. It's gone. It will not show up anywhere. So hopefully that explain if people didn't understand albums, that can be really dangerous. If you think an album of photos are copies and then you go and delete them, you may be deleting your only copy.
Okay. Murray, sometime before the drive for desktop change, I uploaded all my photos to Google Photos. Now I can't find them, and there seems to be photos in Google Drive that shouldn't be there.
um, Before Drive for Desktop change, I uploaded all my photos. Well, if you uploaded all your photos to Google Photos, then they're there. The what happened with the backup and sync and the Drive for Desktop did not take any action on your Google Photos, and it still can't. You cannot use Drive for Desktop to delete any photos out of Google Photos. It's a one-way trip from your computer to Google Photos. That's it. Now, if you can't find them, I'm want two things. Number one is your account. More often than not, if people are talking about missing a lot of photos and you don't think you deleted them by accident, you do know about the trash, right? Everybody knows about that. Let me go. Just make sure. If you deleted photos, they stay in the trash for 60 days, and you can see the trash right here. So any photos that were deleted are in the trash for 60 days, and you can get them back out by clicking on a photo, and then it will have a restore button. Okay. So you could select them all and restore them all. If you say, oops, I mistakenly delete. Now, if you wait beyond 60 days, you're out of luck. All right. But then the question was, what account? So you find your Google Photos online and using a web browser and going to photos.google.com. Then what I recommend is you try signing in, sign out of this account, sign in with any other accounts you have. So you go to photos.google.com and sign in with every Google account that you have. And I think I noticed your question you have a Yahoo email. Your Google account might be using your Yahoo email. So that's something to be aware of. And lastly, the trick I just showed about showing your photos in date added order. You might be able to find them that way. If yeah, you might it's a great tool for helping you find photos that you can't find because they're in order by date taken.
Okay, that's such a wonderful tool to be able to take a whole folder from the Windows and upload it to Google Photos and create a new album just for those photos in that folder. It works brilliantly, and it's the same way on a Mac.
Yes.
Okay, Francine, could you please show how you can move an album from computer to Google Photos manually opening two screens?
Okay. Well, first of all, I do have a video on that. And that is my most recent video, 710 folders to albums. But I'll show it. So let's say I have a folder. So my I have to be able to see both my folders and my Google Photos. So you can tell that here. Now Windows has a neat little trick, but I'm not sure if it works with, yeah. I hold down, I wanted my folders on the left side of the screen. I held down the Windows key and the left arrow. Then I go to my window that has my Google Photos and click that, and it fills in the rest of my screen. So now I have folders on the left and photos on my Google Photos on the right. So I don't want to upload a whole bunch because this is my real account. I probably should have picked up okay. So let's say that this folder called horses. I can drag it over and drop it off. So what's that doing? It's going from my computer to Google Photos and 418 photos. No, I don't want to do that. I
But
just
that's how it's
I
done.
just click stop. But that's how it's done, yeah. But at the end, let me make sure there's not too many. 639. Oh, I have way too many photos from friends here. Um, at when you're done, yeah, here this was my example. This one doesn't have, or does it? Yeah, I have a demo
Sure you do.
folder. Yeah.
And she knows right where it is.
Huh. Oh, there we go. Under Alice's photos, right? Because this is what. So there. This one only has a few in it. I just drag it over. It 420. Oh, okay. Never mind. Watch the video, okay? I got it all set up to to work right when I watch the video. you when it's done with the uploading part, it stops and asks, do you want to put these pictures into an album? And you say yes, and you give the album a name, probably the same name as the folder on the computer. There's no automatic way of doing it, but you can do that manually.
Right. And John says you don't move, but upload. So important to
Right,
know.
it's copying. It doesn't, the photos are still on your computer and they're in Google Photos.
Okay, Brian, I have photos that were scanned that do not have accurate taken date. There were date taken. How can I change the date of the photos that Google Photos puts in the correct dated order?
All right. I there it's very easy. It's very easy. Um, if and I'll show you. But my question is, are your photos still on the computer or are they already uploaded to Google Photos? If they're on your computer and are not yet uploaded to Google Photos, then that's the best way to do it is in Windows. And this works pretty much the same on Mac Finder. I'm pretty sure I've tested it on Mac Finder. If you have the details pane showing, and you click on a picture, notice it says date taken at the top over here. And this says July 1, 1966. So I manipulated that. And I can even select them all, click on the date taken, change it, click save, and now that is hardwired into those photos and they will have that date in Google Photos. If they're already in Google Photos, then you just click on the photo or click on the photo and click on the little pencil by date taken, and you can change the date there. That will put them in order in Google Photos, and it's brilliant. It's wonderful. You just do need to know, though, if you ever take that photo out of Google Photos, this has not been written to the metadata, so it will still have the original. And you can select multiple. So if I click on one picture and shift click on one way down here, now I can click the three dots and edit date and time. And I can either shift dates and times if I just realize that I had the wrong time zone. I can just tell it to shift them all by a couple hours, or I can set one date and time for all selected photos. Okay.
Okay.
Brian
Andrew.
says they are still on the computer. So good. You can do it the best way.
Okay. When restoring from trash, does it auto restore to old location or can I specify a new location to restore them to?
Oh, great question. No, it restores them to the old location,
Okay.
including, I thought I was going to give you good news. It does restore them back into whatever albums they may have been in. But if that's not what you want, sorry.
Scott, when I try to save a creation made by Google Photos, it says it will be saved in the camera roll. And where do I find the camera roll?
That sounds like you're talking about a phone, right? Because that's something that in iPhones you do see something called camera roll if you go into the native photos. But all it means is when you take a picture with a phone, it's the camera that stores that picture. Then Google Photos sees it, and that place is called the camera roll. You don't ever, you have to get really down into the bowels of the phone file structure before you see something really called camera roll. But that's where photos are stored when the camera takes them. They're not stored in gallery. Well, they're not stored in Google Photos to start with. Once they're uploaded, copied, now they're stored in Google Photos and in the camera roll.
Okay. My Google Photos won't import from a thumb drive. The only way I know how is to download to Microsoft Photos. It's a pain then to move them to Google one at a time. Hmm.
Well, Alan, what did you think about when I just showed dragging a folder? All right, I can do this even better. So you should be able to go directly from your thumb drive to Google Photos. Yes, you can. Now, I don't have a thumb drive handy, but I do have a USB hard drive connected to my computer, and I can either pull that up with the files and folders and drag and drop, or I can, in Google Photos, click on this upload in the upper right hand corner, upload from computer. Now you just navigate to that thumb drive. It's there. You would navigate to this PC and find the thumb drive that you have installed. I don't have one, but I have this Seagate Drive D. I double click on that, and now I'm seeing everything on there. Anything I can select from here will be getting copied from that device, that USB drive, directly into my Google Photos.
Okay. That's the end of that. Let's go back over here. Iris, I have videos and photos going up to Drive, but not appearing in Google Photos. Drive and connection to Google Photos has always been a problem.
Yeah, okay. Drive and connection to Google Photos does not exist. That's why it's a problem. um, it there was a time when Drive and Google Photos did connect, but that ended in the summer of 2019. And if you look through my articles on geeksontour.com, you will see the explanation. So Google Photos no longer syncs to Google Drive and vice versa. However, if you're talking about photos that are on your computer and you want them to go to both Google Photos and Google Drive, I don't recommend it because that's using twice of your storage allotment. But that can be done using the Drive for desktop. So let me share my screen, and in the lower right hand corner, I click on the little up arrow and find the Google Drive icon. That is Drive for desktop. I click the gear wheel for settings and then preferences. Any folder on your computer that you have pictures in that you want to go up to Google Photos or Google Drive, you just add it here. You add a folder and find it, find whatever you want. I'll, no. So let's
Don't do
say
it.
that I have pictures in this folder. There, photos. And I select that folder. I'm in Google Drive for desktop. Under the My Laptop settings, I selected a folder, and notice what happens here. Since this product is Google Drive for desktop, it assumes you want to upload whatever you've selected to Google Drive. I do not. They are photos. I want them to go to Google Photos. So notice the default does not select them. So you have to be sure to go into these preferences and check the box for backup to Google Photos. I don't really want to do that, so I'm going to cancel. Okay.
All right. Is there a way to take a photo with my cell phone and have it immediately uploaded to Google Photos? It seems it takes more than 24 hours to be done automatically. What kind of phone?
Well, a couple. Yeah, I wonder if it's an iPhone versus Android. Um, but it's supposed to go up immediately. So now, one thing though, if you don't use Google Photos all the time, so if you take a picture and then you go on to read your email or something, then Google Photos has to be activated in the background. And especially iPhones don't do that right away. So if you want it to go up right away, open the Google Photos app. That tells your iPhone, oh, you want me to do whatever this program is supposed to be doing, hey? And it will do it right away. And the same applies, but just not quite as drastically for the Androids. And I use the Google Photos all the time. So both of my phones have gotten the message that Google Photos is an important app. So it does operate pretty much immediately,
Okay,
even
James
without
says
opening.
Android. He says he's on an Android.
On Android. Well, I would still say, okay, then one more thing, because usually the opening it up doesn't make that much difference, but try it. Try opening up Google Photos after you take a picture and see if it gets uploaded right away. Also, when you have it open, you can tap on your little face in the upper right hand corner and you should see a message. Maybe it's not connected to Wi Fi. You need to be connected to Wi-Fi for the upload to happen. So maybe it waits, you're only connected to Wi-Fi at night or something like that. So those are the two things. Open Google Photos, make sure you're connected to Wi-Fi.
All right, maybe the thumb drive issue is I believe you once said the folder you're importing has to have photos in it and can't be a high level folder that only contains more folders.
Very good. Very good. Yes. Actually, that was in the video maybe you watched the video from yesterday. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can only upload a folder of photos.
Okay. Cool. All right, Iris. Why can I no longer access Snapseed from my phones? It still works with my tablet. I
Oh,
love
no.
Snapseed.
Oh, no. Really? So do I, but it works fine. Now they have changed the
maybe
location, so I do need, well, it's
maybe
different.
unload, reload,
w-
uninstall and reinstall
Well, maybe,
Snapseed.
but maybe she just doesn't know where to find the command. So let me go to, because they moved it. On Android, if I want to edit this photo in Snapseed, you used to be able to tap the three dots and it says open in Snapseed. That's not there anymore. It's on the edit menu. And then it's all the way over at the end under more. And then there's Snapseed. But then it works just fine. And on the iPhone in Google Photos, if I want a photo and I want to edit this photo, you swipe up and open in Snapseed is right there. So it should work. Yeah. And if you do know how to find those and it's not working for you, then yeah, I would try uninstall and reinstall Snapseed or Google Photos or both.
Yeah, and Snapseed can be a standalone program.
Right. Yeah, you can use Snapseed without Google Photos, but then you have to find the photo.
Joyce, I'm finding that there are some rules with Google Drive for desktop. Nested folders will not upload if you supposedly uploaded the main folder it is in.
Okay, and there was more to her question too, but this is as much as StreamYard allows us to fit. So um, she said that she did. It said that it uploaded everything, and yet she didn't see it. The first thing to know is that we just talked about you can only upload a folder that has photos in it. If you want to upload a top level folder and have it get all the photos in all the subfolders, that's what Drive for Desktop is for. So if you select a top level folder, Drive for Desktop will go through all the subfolders and upload them. Now, if it's not doing it, then my recommendation is to go into Drive for Desktop and see if there's any error messages. If it really hasn't done it, you very likely have an error message that you're out of space or that files were too small or that there was some other problem. So check and how you let me share my screen. And in Drive for Desktop, if there are any error messages, it should pop up right away with them, but error list, yeah. Errors relating to backing up or syncing will show up here. So if they're not getting uploaded, check there.
All right. What's the function of hide from library and how do you lock and unlock your device?
Ooh, hide from library. You must have an Android phone or actually a Pixel. I think Pixel is the only one that has this new feature. Google heard that people wanted to be able to hide some of their photos, like like passports and driver's licenses and stuff like that, or other things. And they made this feature. They've rolled it out on Pixel only right now. I do not like the way they implemented it. Because if you choose to hide a picture, it actually removes it from Google Photos, stores it in a locked folder on your phone. So people don't if you don't understand that, then you might uh, give your phone to your grandson and wipe it, and unknowns to you, those hidden photos have now been deleted and they do not exist in your Google Photos library. So I would, if you're going to use the hidden photos, make sure that you understand that. And what locked or unlocked, it just means, okay, if you pick up my phone right now and you try to turn it on, you can't get to anywhere, right? I have I have it locked. You have to know my passcode in order to unlock it. That's what that means. So nobody could see those hidden photos of yours unless they had your phone and knew how to unlock it and knew how to get to that hidden folder.
Okay. Hi, and thanks. I can't open my Picasa 3. I've been trying for a couple of days. I just love making personal cards for the neighborhood seniors. What kind of computer?
I wonder if, eh, yeah, once it stops working, it ain't going to work again. Unless there's some reason why. Picasa 3 was killed back in
Retired.
it was retired, but then it was totally killed in 2017, I think. So it's been 4 years. it still works as long as you had it on your computer until someday when an update to your computer. This happened to Macs a good year ago when Macs upgraded. Oh, I don't remember the level of the operating system it went to, but it totally broke Picasa. So Picasa cannot work on a Mac with a newer operating system. So far, it still works on Windows. So I'm not sure what happened to
Yeah.
you. But
Well,
we do, as you know, if you want to try reinstalling it, and if you are a member of Geeks on Tour, we do have the installation files. If it's just something that got corrupted with your Picasa installation, we do have them,
yeah.
but no guarantees.
Right. Hide from library view is also on an iPhone, and the more three dots when you select an album.
Interesting. I had not noticed that. Let me. It's not on mine. Maybe I need to. Maybe I have an update that I haven't done. So thanks for mentioning that. I will look that up.
Okay. All right. So buy the book, sign up for our newsletters, subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Give us a thumbs up.
Yeah, do all of that good stuff. Like us. Or if you don't like us, then we'll
and
leave.
and keep on learning. Learning
Right.
keeps you young.
It sure does. Look how young we are.
Yeah. Hey, I'm 132 years old here.
You don't look a day over 130. All right.
All
All right. We're just
right,
about
perfect.
done here.
I think we got
Let's
everything.
well, let's see. Looks like Al, as usual, has to get the last word in here.
Hey, Al.
When I take a photo with my iPhone in portrait mode, sometimes it views in the landscape and I can't get it turned around to portrait. Edit it.
Yeah, you can just edit it, and under the crop tool, there is rotate. But I wonder if if the reason is because you're taking a picture looking down. You know, that that's
Messes things up.
that's when it gets messed up for me because it knows when it's portrait if you're holding it right side up, but if you're holding it looking down, it doesn't know which way to go. But
Yeah.
you can fix it with the crop. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Bob says you're almost as old as me.
Keep on learning and keep taking those photos.
All right. Do you dream Google Photos?
Oh, you don't.
Yes, yes, she does. She wakes me up with Google Photos. That's fun. Well, we've gone over an hour now, and it's been great to see you all,
Shared.
and we've we'll do this again next month. Keep those questions coming, and we guess anything else. Last words,
Well, I
Chris?
just see that the hide library occurs only with a shared album. Okay, I will check that out. Oh, no, that's just hide from library view. Okay, I see what you mean. Hide from library view just, yeah, just means that you're not seeing this in your list of normal albums. It's not hiding the photos. At least I assume that's what the other question was about. Anyway.
Okay.
Anyway, thanks for playing, guys.
Yeah, we've had a great time. We'll see you next time. Stay safe. And yeah, we appreciate you members supporting Geeks on Tour. See you next time.